So with the release of many great games last year, we had plenty to entertain ourselves with, from God of War, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Total War Warhammer 3, all the way up to expansions. I'm looking at you, Destiny 2 Witch Queen. But with the release of them titles, there was also been some absolute stinkers that released, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So stick around as you come with me as we have a look at the worst games of 2022. Good afternoon guys, I'm Viper and welcome to the channel, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So from the release of many great games last year, I thought we'll dive into the absolute dumpster fire of the most terrible. We have a look at the current metascore and on one of the worst reviews that there is for each game listed from a reputable magazine critic. And then I give my 2 cents on the game and what I thought of it, whilst the game will be playing in the background. Now there might be some games in the list that you never heard of, and if that's the case then lucky you, as you didn't end up throwing money away on these games. And number one, oh am I sorry if you bought that game. But before we do start the countdown, a quick word from my sponsor, the like button. So go down there and smash a little guy in the face just so I know that you guys are liking the content. And if you want to be an absolute legend and want to help a brother out, you can smash that subscribe button as well. It's free and it helps me out loads here at the channel. Now with the plug done, let's get right into today's video. 5 terrible games released in 2022. Number 5. The Centennial Case, a Shijima story. Released on the 12th of May, developed by Thnx and published by Square Enix, it is classed as a general adventure murder mystery and has no online multiplayer. It has a metascore of 71 and a user score of 6. Now, the only review that has any merit in my eyes is Game Rant, and they state 40. While the Centennial Case has an interesting story to tell and it's quite an enjoyable story at that, it is better told in a different medium. As a game, it struggles to balance the narrative with gameplay because it hands players the solutions. It then has to butcher reasonable logic or outright lie to prevent them from stampeding through each case. Had it been just a TV show, the red herrings could have been used as diversions that the protagonist clearly dispels to find the truth. Instead, the Centennial Case feels like a TV show, providing pop quizzes with only wrong answers. So that's what Game Rant had to say about the game in general. So, like most FMV games, apart from Wing Commander Prophecy, now when that came out back in the day, that was a good game. But this ain't good games, this is terrible games. So, we'll get back on with it. Like most FMV games, the Centennial Case, a Shijima story, was not good. It had an overarching storyline, which was alright. It was a little intriguing, but the other stories that were set, like the ones in the past, was like watching a kid's mystery show, and the action ranges go from not that bad decent to over the top ridiculous. And then there's the English dub, which is just absolutely atrocious. It's terrible. It is really bad. They also added a Path of Logic section at the end case, but this was just an unrewarding and unchallenging, repetitive, mind-numbingly boring. The majority of people who played this game said that it was boring and that there was simply no enjoyability to be found within the game. As you can see by the gameplay footage in the background, the game is mostly a TV show that they had to put together to make it into a game. Now the thought was there, but the execution was more suited to a TV short series and less for the gaming market. Number 4. Kirby's Dream Buffet. Released back on the 17th of August, developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the Switch. It's a spin-off game from the Kirby series designed by Masahiro Sakurai and is the 38th, yeah that's right, 38th game to feature the little lovable pink guy. It has a metascore of 66 and a user score of 7.1. Now the game is a miscellaneous party mini game genre or game, so it's best played with friends. Yeah, no, it's a mouthful that, wasn't it? You can either snack your way to victory in a jam-packed race to claim a mountain of strawberries, roll down delicious courses against each other, locally, or versus a whole gang of colourful, hungry Kirbys online and snack on strawberries to increase your size. The bigger you are, the faster you'll roll downhill. The most well-rounded and heaviest Kirby wins the race. And the one review that sums up the game from Metro Game Central is a bit sickly, even for those with an excessively sweet tooth. This low-rent Kirby spin-off is a poor follow-up of the Forgotten Land and has nowhere near the longevity of Fall Guys. So an absolutely short and sweet slaughtering of the game right there from Metro Game Central. Now my take. Horrible laggy controls, massive frame rate drops, devoid of content and so boring that children won't want to play longer than half an hour before they turn it off, as there's nothing else to do. And I'm being serious. The poll states that this game is as shallow as a puddle, and boy are they right. So apart from those who wanted a Kirby themed multiplayer battle royale experience, that is basically all that it is. Yeah, you want to stay clear of this absolutely devoid of content game and play something like Fall Guys instead. Now, which with being free, means you definitely want to pick up Fall Guys instead, and the cute little pink guy. Stay away from this devoid of content, boring multiplayer game. And as you can see from the gameplay in the background, just go buy. Well, don't even buy it. Just go and play Fall Guys. It's free. Go and get yourselves Fall Guys. It's better. And yeah, it's free. What more could you ask for? Go and get Fall Guys. Number 3, Goddamn the Garden. Now this game was released on December the 20th of 2021, and yeah, technically it shouldn't be in the list, but what's 11 days when the game is just so bad? It was developed by Angelvik and produced by Retalaka Games. It is classed as an arcade action first-person shooter, and it has no multiplayer within the game. Goddamn the Garden challenges you to face the trial of Skeleton Bastard, which tests whether or not you're worthy of becoming the next king of badass heaven. Now the metascore for this game has not yet been declared, and also the user score has also not yet been declared. So quick look at what a critic review there is, and there is only one. Though I doubt this, I reckon what has happened is the score is like less than 10, and they didn't want to put that review up with it being so low onto the site, so they're just probably not put a review score up for it because it probably is less than 10. But the review is from Touch Arcade, and they rate it 50 and state, while Goddamn the Garden is affordable and isn't completely without merit, I didn't find it enjoyable at all to play. Irritating perhaps, frustrating definitely. I know it has its fans, but I just can't see any reality or circumstance where I would recommend buying or playing this over similarly affordable games on the eShop like Doom or Quake. Yes, even if you played them a million times before, go get Doom or Quake. And that was from Touch Arcade. And yeah, I do agree. Play Quake or Doom. And now my 2 cents. This game is one of them absolutely dreadful and loathsome mean games. You know, one of them games where it's made for all of the lols, but in this case the lols are not needed. Goddamn the Garden is a painfully dull and not funny in the slightest comedic shooter with no art direction whatsoever. It is nonsensically difficult with 1990s ugly as hell 64 graphics, as in Nintendo 64 graphics, which are devoid of any polish or care to the overall aspect and vision of the game. Honestly, stay away from this game. Even if you are looking for a game with the N64 graphics, then you should get 007 GoldenEye, which has just been re-released, and it is 100 times better than this absolutely atrocious game. And as you can see by the gameplay, that this is an absolute avoid. Unless you are a hardcore fan of the genre of games, which then yeah, go ahead. But my take, stay away, waste of your time. Number 2, Cobra Kai 2, Dojo's Rising. Released back on the 8th of November, developed by Flux Game Studios and published by Game Mill Entertainment, and with a metascore of to be declared, and user score also to be declared, yes, this game is bad. The Cobra Kai saga continues with Cobra Kai 2, Dojo's Rising. Eagle Fang, Cobra Kai, Miyagi Do, what is your dojo? The choice begins your journey, and then you have to recruit the most powerful team as you master your fighting style and battle to solidify your dojo's legacy as the All Valley Karate Grand Champion. Now, the game is classed as an action beat 'em up and it is a 2 players, but why you would want to play this with your mates is beyond me. There is many a better game out there, and they don't cost $39.99, that's British pounds, on Steam. And this is at the time of recording this video, but this game ain't worth £20, let alone 40, like because nobody, or rather because everyone who's reviewed bombed this game. The metascore haven't even given it a score, and was it because of the date of the recording? But a review from Gaming Nexus states 20, 100% unacceptable. Glitches and game breaking bugs left and right. This game should never have been allowed to be released in this state. It's a shame really, because while the first game wasn't amazing, it was decent for what it was. Cobra Kai 2 is a complete failure at almost every level. Stay far, far away from this game. So that review is from Gaming Nexus, and it was one of 2 reviews from Game Magazine's Paid Pundits, and they even state on how bad this game really is. And that's not the least of it. Now, as you all know, it's pretty hard to mess up a sequel, and theoretically the worst thing you can do as a developer is to release a game and just slap a 2 on it. Messing up a sequel takes a special kind of special and a ton of skill, and yet they managed to do it with Cobra Kai 2 Dojo's Rising. The sequel isn't even the same game as the original. Cobra Kai, which was a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and this game just, well, goes off the rails. First one played like a modern version of a Dreamcast game. This plays like a nightmare. The bugs and glitches render don't. Have to restart boarding levels as enemies are just passed out of bounds and you're unable to progress. Plus you have to repeat the stuff that you've already done, and it's just boring and repetitive. Just because this game, basically, it's not finished. Yeah, this game is a big broken mess, and most likely still is. So Cobra Kai is, yeah, Cobra bad. And as you can see by the gameplay, the game is not really looking that nicely fleshed out either. Like, when the characters speak, they don't even move their lips, which is like, what? Really? Wow. I can't believe that when I seen that. Like, so my honest opinion of the game is that they just released anything as of the current hype still around the Cobra Kai series, which I must admit I have not watched, and I most likely will not watch. But for you fans who actually bought the game and that lot, I understand why you absolutely review bomb this game into the ground. I understand why you did. It's bad. It's bad. And finally, the worst game of 2022, in my opinion, is Dolmen. Now, this game was released back on the 20th of May and was developed by Massive Work Studio and published by Massive Work Studio, Prime Matter and PlayIon. It is a cosmic horror and sci-fi with a third-person action game with RPG elements, but with a Lovecraftian plot that causes players to find what's behind the darkest secret of the universe. It allows up to 4 players and was a metascore of 61 and with a user score of 6.4. This game is a good reason why I don't purchase any game that doesn't show game footage in the trailer for the game. Note to the developers, we don't show any game footage, actual image footage of you, a consumer or anybody playing the game, actual game footage in playing it. So, like, people think that it's going to be bad. If the developers don't have faith in their game by not showing you the actual gameplay in their trailers and that lot, then how can you expect the people to want to buy your game? You know, like, you yourselves even think that the gameplay footage will detract buyers from buying the game because it's so bad, and then you don't show it. So that's the reason why I never do buy a game that does not show any gameplay. PC Games state it best with their metascore of 20 and the following: I've played all sorts of Soul-likes, including some mainly primarily for mobile platforms, which is to say I don't necessarily need the highest production standards to enjoy the core formula. I've been willing to forgive the laughable presentation. If the gameplay wasn't equally bad, the game feels bad to control. The animations are stiff and clunky. The user interface is a farce. The level environments are criminally boring. Crafting equipment is annoying and tedious. The boss fights are terribly designed. There's next to nothing here that isn't subpar. Subpar. Granted, there are a few ideas and boss mechanics in there, but all of them are either poorly executed or half-heartedly. Dolmen is not only the worst Souls-like I've played yet, it's also a good contender for one of this year's worst games, and that's from PC Games. Now, I agree, PC Games, and I ask myself, like, where to start, really? So the game was 6 years in the making, and boy does it not show. The game looks like it was made in 2012 and not 2022. And by gaming students in a couple of months at that. Yeah, it would have got you a good grade, if not a great grade in school, but not when you expect people to pay £37.99 British sterling pounds on Steam for it. Yeah, just like Cobra Kai, they slap a big price on it, and it ain't worth anything near to what you have marked the price at. Now, you can play free on Xbox, but that is the only saving grace in this disaster of a game, and that is that it's free with the Game Pass, and that is the only way I would recommend to play free. This game could have been great AAA Souls-like game, but no, people were faced with disappointment and anger in some cases, as the game they have waited nearly 6 years for when released was a clunky role-playing game that is drastically behind the times, husk of an action role-playing game, which would have been considered dated back in 2015, let alone when it was released last year, 2022. This is a linear garbage game that was slapped together to try and cash in on the Souls-like genre. And as you guys can see by the gameplay, that the game is bad. It really is bad. What more can I say? It is bad. There is also many great games that you can get out there for £38, and why not? And there's loads more that are even cheaper as well. And even some free ones out there. My advice is to buy something else, really, I really do say that. I'm not recommending, I'm telling you, do not, I repeat, do not buy this game. Well then guys, that was 5 terrible game releases of 2022. Was there any games that you thought shouldn't have been in the video? Or is there any game that I missed off the list that you thought should have been on the list? And if so, why don't you go down there into the comments, leave a comment and let me know. And what were your thoughts were the worst games of 2022, if I missed any off? And they might even make it into the next video. Well then guys, I hope you did like the video, and thanks for watching all the way to the end. And if you did, go down there, smash that like button so I know that you liked it. And again, thank you legends that have subscribed. I'm on a small channel getting started. I'm trying to get my first goal of 100 subscribers, and I can't do it without you guys. So all of you who subscribed, thank you so much. I really mean that. Thank you, you legends. And this is Viper saying, I will see you all in the next one, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.